Hey Stephanie, this is Donnie. Okay, this tutorial is going to be on how to edit a page, and we'll see if we can get all this in one. This might be a little shorter than the adding new pages because there's a lot of factors in adding a new page. But here's how you edit a page. So we're going to use our example of our pets ministry that we talked about in adding into a new page. So how do we do this? Let's say you put this in there and the pets ministry contact calls you and says, hey, I've got some new information, or I don't like what's up there. Can we change that? So here's what you do is once they've provided you the information, I'm going to give you the example. Let's say they've provided it here in Word, and they say, we want this to be at the top of the page, and we want to have a picture of a dog. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing you do is go to your dashboard. So I've gone back to the dashboard here. And so what you want to do is down here under Pages, instead of hitting Add New, this time you'll hit Edit. There we go. Now, what you've got here is all the pages that's on your site. You can see over here that you can go all the way to the end, and it actually goes in the order that you kind of see it here. This is the home page is 1 and then 2, and so this kind of is the order it goes in. So if you're looking for something way down here, it's probably going to be towards the end. Now, it can be a little tricky until you get the hang of it, and after you edit enough pages, you'll start to learn that if you want to edit something on the shepherd's page, it's on page 2 up here. If you want to edit something on the, something else, it's going to be on page, third, the third page of pages that you can do. The easiest thing to do there is to simply follow this search pages. So uh, I'm just going to, and most time you can type some word that you know is in the page or that you know is within the title of the page. So I'm going to search pages for pet. It makes it real simple because it pulls up various things, and somewhere in here there's the word pet for whatever, maybe just somebody's name that starts with PET. But obviously here's what we want. And by the way, if you see the double arrow, that means it's kind of a second tier. It doesn't mean that necessarily World Bible School falls under our ministers because I've actually used this search thing. But if you were, anyway, long story short is our ministers are the first layer, which is the ministries. That's the first layer. And then the second layer is the things that come out after that. So that's what those double arrows mean. Here's our pets. So we're going to edit this page here. I'm going to just click the edit page option. Whenever you see this, there's an autosave. Just ignore this because that's something that's going to pop up quite often. It's a WordPress thing. You just don't need to mess with that. So again, I'm going to expand this by clicking those little slanted slanted lines there to expand this. So let's say that, okay, they send to you a document and they say, we want this at the top of the page with a dog. So again, you say, all right, I'm going to copy all that, go over to my page, and again, you're tempted at this point to say, I think I'm going to, um, at this point, I've kind of stuck into this little numbering thing, so all I have to do is hit that, and I've taken the numbering off. Uh, this is where I think, well, they want it left justified, so it defaults to left justified. Maybe I want it centered. If I want it centered, then I can do some things with that. But for this, I'm going to do left justified. It's real easy just to right-click and paste it, but I don't want to do that. If you remember from the previous tutorial, you always want to click as plain, paste as plain text. So here, paste it in, insert it, and now all that information is there. Now let's say when they sent this to you, they said here, hey, by the way, when you do this, we wanted to also highlight our men's ministry, so we want this to link over to our men's ministry. Okay, so you have to think through. All right, this is what I've got on here, but they also wanted a picture here, so I will show you in another tutorial, but let's say for the sake of this, we put it here, and this time we want it centered, so I'm going to center that. I always use the Add Media, which is the third option over, or the fourth option over. I can select the file from a media library as it exists, or I can select it directly from my computer, and I've got up here a picture already set up of a dog. So I'll give you an example. It loads it up. There's the picture of the dog. I can scroll down here, and if it's a large picture, if somebody took it right off the digital camera, the full size is going to be, it could be 2,000 times 2,000 or 2,000 by 3,000 or something like that. You never want to put really large pictures in there, but we'll talk about that in another tutorial. Since this is pretty small, I don't recommend ever using this thumbnail option here because there's some other ways to do thumbnail. But you just always want to select either the medium, the large, or the full size. This is small enough here. We're ready to put it as the full size. So we're going to insert into post or insert into page. It could say either way. So this is where your picture is. And now we over here, now the only thing we want to do is add a link to our men's ministry, because we say here, click here to learn about our men's ministry. So the thing I have to do is say, all right, let me now figure out what is our men's ministry URL. So if I don't know it, I can go back to the website. I can go down to adult men's ministry and click on it. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, you're not going to see what I'm doing here, but I'm just going up to the top of the URL. I guess I can grab that. Let me see if I can grab this so you can see. Yeah, I might be able to grab that. All right, now you can see that that's the link over to the men's ministry. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to copy that. Pull this back down here. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this page. So now I'm going to say click here to learn about a men's ministry. This is what they want hyperlinked over to the men's ministry page from the pets ministry. Now, when you're doing hyperlinks, you can say click here and make that hyperlinked. Or you can say click here and hyperlink the whole thing if you want to. Or you can say I want to click here and do that part, and I'm also going to do this part. You can do two things. So for this tutorial, I'm going to do the words click here. And when I do hyperlinks, most of the time I like those to be bold because it stands out a little bit to make sure people know that there's something there. So I make that bold. Now I'm going to also highlight it again, and then this brings up this little link. And if you remember from one of the tutorials earlier, it brings up the HTTPs. Now I've already copied the URL from the ministry page, so I can delete that off. All right, and just paste directly in. There's the URL for the men's ministry page. We talked about this earlier, but I'll talk about it here. The target is, do you want it to open up in the same window or the new window? If you don't select anything, it's going to default to the same window. So our rule of thumb and our recommendation is if you're opening up a link to somewhere within your website, then you just can keep it either into the not set option or set it into the same window because you're staying within your site. If I was hyperlinking to a PDF file or to an external website, as an example I gave earlier, the city of Garland has an event and you want to link to that. Then you would open that up in a new window so that when they click that link on your website, it opens up in a new window. When they're done viewing the city of Garland or they're done viewing the PDF file and they exit out of that, they're going to be left with your website still visible on the screen. So that's kind of the rule of thumb. So since in this case we're going to be using it, I can either leave it at not set or I can say the same window. Either way, I can insert that. And I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and update the page now. And by updating the page, there we go. Now, we have taken this off visible from everybody else. So just so we can see it, I'm going to go ahead and preview changes. You can view page here or preview changes. So I'm going to preview the change and see what happens. And there's our picture. There's our text. And you can see here the words click here. It's turned into this color. This color is part of the theme. When we developed this theme with the dark teal color, this was the color of the link, so I think it really stands out. And when you hover over it, it actually turns into an underline and lets people know that there is something there. And if you click that, then it takes you directly to the men's ministry. And that's simply how easy it is to edit a page. The key things are to make sure that when you paste things in from Word, that you paste it in as plain text. And the rest of it is pretty simple. If you're ever running any problems with formatting, certainly let me know and we'll be able to help you out.